right. So, as per the request of the illustrious Diendu, I'm going to go over yet another video. He just keeps the requests coming over at subscribestar.com/duerst. Yeah, if you got $9 that you want to throw at me, name the video or the audio or the article, and I'll break it down for you. But yeah, let me just kill this, actually. As cool as Chrono Trigger is. This John Weir. This guy is definitely working at the Queen's College English Department, which is very disconcerting. John Weir is the author of 2 novels, The Irreversible Decline of Eddie Socket and What I Did Wrong. His writing has appeared in several anthologies, including Between Men, original fiction by today's best writers, and Vital Signs, essential AIDS fiction. Oh my goodness. So this is what universities across the country, probably across the Western world, are funding. His nonfiction has appeared in Details, Spin, and Rolling Stone. Oh, wow. And so we have here, I think what this appears to be is some sort of, like, posh, bougie, like, I don't know, reading of his work or something. We'll see. We'll go over this. Why D&Do over at Subscribestar wanted me to go over this in a video, I'm not exactly sure, but subscribers must be obeyed, so here we go.
I would like to introduce my friend and mentor, John Weir.
It gets worse. Yep.
Thanks for reading tonight.
Sheesh.
Thank you, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
This is old, I guess. Old, but a little new. And, what should I say? Nothing really. It's called It Gets Worse.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Which is not really an ironic title.
Then why promote it? I mean, that's you know, that might be the operative question throughout this entire thing.
And it goes like this. Jodie Foster came out at the Golden Globes by saying she wouldn't. It was the opposite of a performative speech act that enacts what it says. Her statement performed what it didn't say, what it refused to say. It was like how you'd come out if you were Magritte. There she is.
See how fucking sheltered it is to just be one of these people, to be concerned with, you know, creating butt babies.
Framed in the TV set or computer screen like an everyday object that is also a work of art, enacting disclosure above.
It's like a wine and cheese, like, you know, upscale dining kind of atmosphere. I'm
A caption that reads, "This is not a disclosure." A
What the?
surrealist says, "I'm gay," but it's in French and it's a collage and the words are scattered all over the page in the shape of a teapot. If you had been
Like, oh, we're so dysfunctional. Oh. Just a little bit of background. You know, a lot of different, a lot of different people have screen capped this guy. So he's like, oh boy, which one of these? It's like a lot of digging at white men and a lot of digging at the pro-life movement and a lot of digging at, you know, of course he's a masky. We can get into like a lot of that stuff. Weird, bizarre, like LGBT pandering, using position as a tenured professor to do
from
it.
the time you were a toddler, she said, maybe you too might value privacy above all else. And what I want to know is not did she come out or not, but what's privacy? It's 1970. And I'm in New Jersey, rural northwestern New Jersey, not Cape May, not the Jersey Shore, not the part of Jersey that's an adjunct of Manhattan, not Camden, the suburbs of Philly. A keg tapped at both ends is what Ben Franklin called New Jersey. And
keg tapped at both ends. Is he about to make some really cringy gay joke?
Anticipating the turnpike, but I'm 11 years old, and I live in the part of the state that's tapped out, the Musconetcong River Valley and the Jersey Highlands. Lebanon Township in the northernmost point of Hunterdon County. These days, Hunterdon County is the fourth richest county in America after the three counties that surround the nation's capital. But in 1970, before they finished Highway 78, and it was suddenly a straight shot from Clinton to Canal Street, 53 miles and 49 minutes on the interstate. But in 1970, before Reaganomics and a fast commute, before the yuppies arrived, it was still a depressed dairy farming community in recovery from spoiled milk and dead cows and abandoned grist mills along the banks of...
It's like all projection. Dude comes from the yuppies and has disdain for the middle American farmers. You can sense it right there.
the South Branch of the Raritan River. Not that there's anything wrong with chicken farmers, though there's nobody meaner than an angry chicken farmer or a disappointed chicken farmer. Okay, I'm a snob. I'm an urban snob, Manhattanish, even at the age of 11. My father works in the city, and my mother rides her retired racehorse bareback in the hills behind our house. And on weekends, they put on plays in an old music hall in Clinton with their gang of expatriate New Yorkers. But my brother and I go to grade school with poor white people who are all their own cousins.
Oy, oy, oy. Who are, they're working on chipping away at that, by doing this sort of thing. Like, this is the kind of stuff that he does in his class. I'm teaching a sort of queer lit and politics course, and I was told my students And I tell my students their first homework assignment was to go home and tell their parents they're queer. Was that wrong of me? Yeah, dude. No educational value. You're fucking with their heads. You are, a little confusing for the straight ones, maybe. And he reveals, which was my intent. Well, and I mean for them to think about queer as meaning things other than and or in addition just sexual activity and identification or gender identification presentation. I like it. Dude, these people need to be in jail, obviously. People rightfully pointing out on good old Reddit. People actually go $70,000 into debt for a degree like that. Clown World bullshit. Back when the Clown World meme was still going strong. Oh boy. We're so far beyond that. We're so far beyond being like clown pilled. Like, if you can stay clown pilled out there, wow, more power to you. Expect us productive, those with a positive tax burden, to start footing the bill for it. You've been done footing the bill for it, buddy. I mean... You've been footing the bill for it. What do you mean? Meanwhile, I went in for $50K on comp sci degree and have paid... Dude, that is an awful sentence. Meanwhile, I went in for $50K on comp sci degree and have paid $32K of it back in just over 3 years. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm not the only one to point out, if you actually... take out a loan for a useful, worthwhile degree. Meanwhile, some assholes like queer, lit in politics. Tell your parents you're queer, 19-year-old. Why? What, to challenge heteronormativity? This dude gets paid probably the big 6-figure bucks, while people like us are wallowing, oh man, getting banned from everything. It's revolting.
I'm a terrible snob, a little elitist at the age of 11. Maybe that explains what happens next.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. It's a bright...
It explains your Yiddishness.
Crisp fall day at Lebanon Township.
Or your Yiddishness explains your snobbishness.
Elementary school on the Bunvale Road, and I'm running for president of the 6th grade. I'm wearing a seersucker suit. It got me elected president of the 4th grade, but that was 2 years ago, and now the pants are too short. They're clam diggers. Why don't I know that? I've also got a crew cut, and my hair stands up in front, but not in a fun way. It's 8 a.m. My classmates and I are standing outside the school building waiting for the bell to ring and the day to begin. We're gathered around the big double doors by the boys' gym. The building's long.
And he's got a Chubbs, just in anticipation.
Long and low and flat and red and white and laid out like a ladder where you climb over 9 years from kindergarten up to 8th grade. Kindergarten down at the south end and 8th grade up at the north. And then you get sent to the high school 10 miles away. Actually, I think the 8th grade rooms are in the middle. But anyway, there's a hierarchy, and 6th graders are almost the big kids. We're standing in a patch of ground covered with small, round, gray stones that make a satisfying crunching sound.
Oy Venus intensifies.
School faces the road, but we're in back, and there's nothing behind us but a big empty field running off to pine trees in the distance. Way down there are a couple of swings and a slide, and we're on the top of a flat, bare hill. Kids are wearing light fall jackets. The cool kids carry their lunches in paper sacks. Some of us still have our third grade lunch pails decorated with scenes from Saturday morning cartoon shows, Underdog, or a Fireball XL5. The air
God, they had horrible cartoons back then.
smells like cow shit and red clay and lye.
They like Rocky and Bullwinkle. I mean, no offense to people out there that like that Hanna-Barbera era stuff, but holy crap, it sucked.
And pencil shavings
Oof.
and the bubblegum flavored toothpaste scent of my classmates. Somebody's got a transistor radio and Paul McCartney is singing, "Get back to where you once belonged." I've written
In the
a
closet.
speech that I plan to deliver at the
Sparasol.
election rally. It's folded in my hand. I've been rehearsing it. I'm nervous and distracted, and I don't notice that a circle is forming around me until somebody calls my name. "Sally," he says.
Ada!
That's me. The thing is,
That's the modern
I'm
version.
a girl. Nobody's called me a fag yet, but I've been Sally for a while because I'm a smug little creep. Because my mother rides her horse sometimes in the fields behind the school.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty.
Yep.
Because I play horsey with my girlfriends down at the kindergarten end during recess.
And it all culminated into this snobby wine and cheese, like, oh my god, inbred, working class white people, oh my god, let's replace them.
Because when little kids want to say the worst thing about you, little boys and even sometimes little girls, the first thing they do is call you a girl. Unless you are a girl, in which case, why say it? Being a girl is insult enough. "Sally," he says, and I ignore it like
Sally forth me
I'm
if
not
I'm
big
wrong.
enough or strong enough to hit anybody, and anyway, like Jane Fonda, I'm an anti-war.
Ugh, dude.
I believe in nonviolent resistance.
None of this is
When an
funny.
angry dog goes after you, my mother says, "Don't react."
So yeah, her mom. His mom taught him to be a beta male. Basically, just not to stick up for himself, right? I mean, and now it's like, lo and behold, he's Gheyer!
So I don't. Anyway, I know the guy. He's Eric. He hits home runs. I let him cheat off my English tests. Then he says, "Sally Faye." Ooh, a twist. A new word.
Sally forth
Sally
me if I'm
Faye,
wrong.
he says again, and he pushes me. I'm waiting for it to turn into a joke. It doesn't. The next time he says it, somebody joins him. Then someone else. It's a chant. I'm thinking, whoops, there goes my election. And that's when I notice the circle closing
I mean, all politicians are pretty much gay anyway, so.
around me. It happens really fast, and suddenly everyone in my 6th grade class is pushing me. Anyway, all the boys, and I bounce off different parts of the circle. It's bumper pool, and I'm the ball. Well, they call me Sally Faye like we're drag queens instead of 11-year-olds.
Oh, look, that's telling. Like, we're drag queens instead of 11-year-olds. Fast forward, what, like 5-6 years later? 11-year-olds drag queen story time, buddy? Telling your students to go tell your parents that you're gay, even if you're not, just to fuck with them? I mean, it's just clearly, this entire thing is clearly just designed to mess with regular people's heads, to control them.
Not just Sally Faye, they try new names. Maybe the first time any of us have heard
This is rich
them.
people, this is like ultra rich, bougie, connected people that, again, they don't care. It's not about making money. It's about, well, they'll lose money just to stick it to the people that they want to stick it to, which is Q8s.
Or said them, grace notes over the melody line. Sally Faye, faggot. Somebody says, Sally Faye, then homo, Sally Faye, Sally
Homo!
Faye, faggot, and queer.
Queer.
Okay, my name is Weir.
Weird.
What choice do they have? Queer, Weir. The kids who don't call me Sally have always called me Weirdo, and I don't mind it. It's just my name.
John
You know, what's in a
Quee.
name? Weird. Well, weird is an Anglo-Saxon word for destiny or fate, W-Y-R-D. And Feya is Middle English for fairy, or fey, F-A-Y.
Or beta.
Or fey, F-E-Y, from the Anglo-Saxon feya, meaning fated to die soon. A faggot is a bundle of sticks thrown on a pyre to burn witches, and faggoting is a
Good old days.
decorator's term for something you do with lace. Queer is Germanic from the root thwur, meaning thwart. So I'm twisted, thwarted, and thwarting. Fairy-like but fateful, not just silly but lethal, not just deadly but fated to die, kindling for fire. powerful and burning, but also inconsequential, dainty as threads pulled tight around delicate lace.
Is he gonna get into the fact that he was probably maimed or touched as a kid? I mean, I'm waiting for that part. Is any part of this gonna be honest or forthright?
And I'm the star. That's what's so confusing. Trapped in their circle, surrounded and alone, I'm rejected and central. And here is the beginning of my lifelong inability to tell the difference between pain and attention.
Which is why you are what you are. It's like, it's like we, as a society, give platforms to people like this. Not only just this little ill-attended, little bougie, hipster, elitist poetry slam, but I mean, this dude's, again, he's a tenure professor at Queens. He's an English professor. Why are there parades being thrown for people like this? I mean, look at the kind of stuff this dude has said. I mean, this is in reference to what? Any random lone wolf? Oh, what is this? Oh, I see. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Sunday sermon. That's Jesus talking about Satan in the Gospels. And by the way, is John a little anti-Semitic? But James Earl Jones was reading this to me in my car this morning, and I wasn't thinking about Jesus. But of course, and alas, Trump, the best part about the lies he tells about other people's evil deeds are really confessions of his own. That was, what the fuck? That was just completely incoherent. I realize that comparing Trump to Satan is unfair to Satan. This dude is of Satan. I mean, he's like revealing, I don't know, you know what I mean? He's revealing that his dedication is to Moloch, I think, in a lot of this. I mean, it's a lot of projection. I don't understand much of this to decipher except to say that it's projection and like a declaration of sorts of what sort of like evil intent he has to destabilize, undermine, that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll go over other quotes
From
of
that
his.
day, stop the laughter. From that day, I'm the faggot. Everybody knows or wants to know, what makes you such a fag, they ask me, on the playground, on the school bus, on the way from one classroom to another.
The fact, well, we already went through that. Like, his mom taught him to not fight back against bullies. He was super into, like, frilly stuff. There's probably no man around to be like, hey, no, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? There was no sort of like male role model or influence around that was positive, and any sort of, and if there was, it was probably like denigrated or cast to the side or characterized as bad or whatever. Like, you know, listen to the posh laughter in the background. Think of that. Like, oh, the father thinks that he's involved meaningfully. Go back in the garage, or like, I don't know. It's just like you could sense.
Why are you a fag? What's it like to be a fag? And I'm like, well, you tell me, because you knew before I did. Privacy? I never had any privacy. Everyone was naming me from the time I was 11. It was everybody's business.
Naming them.
But mine, except it was also a secret. No one could ever discuss it. No adult, anyway. Certainly they saw it. I won't mention dodgeball.
Dude got
8th grade
beaned.
music class,
He likes getting beaned with balls, doesn't he?
we're singing Home on the Range. Our music teacher, Mrs. Westman, is a giant German woman who looks like a Wagnerian soprano, and she hands out lyrics on mimeograph sheets. Then she puts on a sing-along record on the phonograph. She runs her finger over the needle with a scratching, popping sound and drops the stylus into the groove. And when she raises her hand to conduct, at the refrain, home, home on the range, the class turns to me and sings, Homo on the range. The class turns to me and sings, Homo on the range. And I'm like,
Homo on the range.
Mrs. Westman, help me. Adults are no help. They were not just no help. They called me a faggot too.
Dude, the adults were down with Homo on the Range. They jammed that from morning to night.
Everybody is what I'm saying. Everyone I knew and everywhere I went within 20 miles of my grade school and then my high school knew I was a faggot and called me a faggot. And if they didn't know I was a faggot, it was only a matter of time before somebody told them. And it was just amazing to watch them switch from liking you to their appalled discovery that you were scum. un-American, a communist probably, a
Yes.
pervert,
Yes.
a freak. My friends'
Weimar Germany, dude.
fathers, 40-year-old men would make jokes
Hirschfield, dude. I mean, I'm
staying
I'm
away from
seeing
me. A
it right now.
12-year-old, a 14-year-old, because who knew what I would want to do to them?
I don't doubt the veracity of. I mean, I don't doubt that he was called the F-word in middle school. I don't doubt that at all. I think we all were. It's just that in his case, it was literally true.
I wrote
He's not getting to why is he, and he's never going to.
I wrote this down once and published it and tried to be low-key about it and state the facts and not to interpret or ask for sympathy and just say, like, what happened. But I'm not sure that even other gay men got it. Some of them were like, oh, this is just your standard coming out story, no big deal. And Jodie
Yep.
Foster says, I've
It's
always
annoying.
already been out and it's no big deal. And
It is NBD because it's totally like I keep fucking saying whenever I look at these liberals, these neoliberals, it's like their concerns are so first world and posh, and it's like, oh, well, bathroom gender accommodations. Oh, they called me a faggot. Who cares?
But it was
Shut
like
up.
a light
You're
was
liars.
shining on me all the time, a spotlight. And I like to be the center of attention. And I give away my secrets before anyone can tell them. But I was irresistible, and I represented shame, and I knew what everybody's face looked like, contorted with rage. It was kind of a privilege, I guess, secret knowledge in high school.
Privilege.
North Hunterdon Regional High School in Annandale, New Jersey. Don't send your children there. Boys, especially boys, were eager to walk up to me and show me their out-of-control rage. It wasn't physical abuse exactly. I mean, I had a long scar.
We're not gonna get the creepy uncle story. Yeah, it's like, dude. Why do they leave everything like? Not that like I want to sit here and go over those disgusting details, but it's like that. Except for Milo, actually, like he was the only one that I know of in the media who fucking actually explored that. But then he got punished by multiple sides, you know. But he was creepy and weird for other reasons, and a grifter. So he was funny for a time, but not productive overall, I don't think.
Macrame scarf that my mother made, and it dragged nearly to the ground, and kids would grab me in the hall and push me up against the lockers and wrap a scarf around my neck and choke me and call me a faggot, but nobody punched me. They threw chairs at me in the cafeteria, but the scary thing, scary because it was such an intimate thing, was guys I didn't even know, whose names I couldn't tell you now, would walk up to me and scream at me with their fists clenched and their faces red as if their veins were
Yo, Chads.
and I was I caused it. I made them angry. It was my fault.
He might have been like, oh my god, white people, shut up and listen to people of color.
You know, I'm not asking you to hold me. I'm saying this is the diagnosis. I was the thing that made them. You know, much later in New York City for a while, all my friends were therapists, shrinks, and they were all forever getting in touch with their anger. And they'd say, I don't think you're in touch with your anger. And I was like, oh, I've been in touch with anger.
Oh, yeah, speaking of that, look at how angry and psychotic and satanic and Moloch this dude is. You can't keep calling yourself pro-life when the end result, indeed goal, of your movement is that women will die getting illegal abortions. The pro-life movement is a death cult. Let them call it what it is. It's anti-life. Dude, that is the most bullshit. I mean, angry. Dude's definitely in touch with his anger, okay? In an extremely destructive way. I mean, the guy's clearly, you know, saying that the goal is to kill women in back alley, what is he saying? Back alley, like, coat hanger abortions, but that's always a canard. That's always been a canard. Also, same with abortion clinic bombings. Abortion clinic bombings. Like, that's always been a canard. That's happened like 8 times, okay? What he's really trying to do is just, well, be really angry and evil, but also just take attention away from the fact that millions of babies are killed every year. Like, and he's trying to act like the exception, you know, the back alley abortion. He's trying to act like millions of those are going to start happening. No, I think if you were to ban it, I think that most women would just opt to give birth to the kid, right? I think that, you know, yeah, and killing millions of babies isn't right. That's the satanic Moloch death cult. It's like everything is projection and lying with these people, with these oy vey people, you know. But it gets worse.
I'm the source of anger.
It's like they tell you,
and
right?
I knew I caused it, and I I didn't know why, and it happened to me all the time, all day long.
Because you're super stoked on killing babies and like genital mutilation and gender transitioning and bathhouses and disease and frilly, creepy, creepazoid behavior. Like that's probably why.
Time I got on the school bus at 8:30 in the morning
Thief.
until I got off the late bus after play practice at 6:30 at night. 1 or 5 or 12 or 20 people were following me around and calling me a faggot, and I was so ashamed. And thank God no one ever asked me. If any adult had ever actually asked me how I felt about being called a fag all day long, I would have been, oh my God, I would have died. And the problem was mostly, even in high school, I was still a girl. In high school, the choir director, I'll call him Mr. Disney. He told me in front of everyone. He interrupted class.
Over 200,000 couples every year can't adopt babies in the U.S. because of abortion. They have to go to other countries. Dang, I didn't know that. But these guys like this are gonna complain about, oh, well, gay adoption. Oh my God, it's like as if that's actually, preventing gay adoption, as if that's what's preventing, kids from getting to loving homes. I mean, dude, I wouldn't want to wish that sort of family situation on a random fucking unfortunate kid. That's insane. That's an unhealthy society. That's an unhealthy society where priorities in many different circles are just out of whack. Like, we need to make sure that gay adoption and abortion are at the top of our list. It's like, no, how about banning those things? Or if not banning, like severely limiting those things.
He had a low resonant voice. You walk like a girl. He was a choir director, but it wasn't choir. It was the performing arts team. Our high school.
He's never heard the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. I think he's just straight up lying because he knows that it's lucrative. It's monetarily lucrative, but it's also... they gain a sense of influence or power if they complain about this stuff. The more they complain about this stuff.
It was overcrowded
really
in
what it is.
1975, and students
Agenda
would move through the teams,
pushing.
which basically meant that 50 of us met each day in the choir room waiting for our teachers to decide what to do with us. And one thing they decided one day was to fix my walk. Like a girl, Mr. Disney says, looking at me. Everyone laughs. I laugh. Mr. Disney is what you picture when you hear the words tall, dark, and handsome. He was maybe 30 years old, and
they said he said they had to fix his walk, much like they would have tried to fix left-handedness. Pretty based.
Dude, and funny and smart, younger than most of my other teachers, and cool. You could tell he probably once smoked pot, and I guess I had a crush on him. And he said, "Really, you do?" And I nod. I'm like, I know. Help me, please help me not be a girl. And he turns to the room and says, "Somebody get up and show him how he walks." Everybody I know is in this room. My best girlfriends, my best boyfriends, my brother, my brother's girlfriend, 40 of us maybe. It's the drama club, basically, the music and drama club. Everybody there is probably a fag, but I'm the faggot of all fags, and a bunch of guys raise their hands.
Queen faggot.
And they're like, oh, let me do his walk, let me do his walk. Yeah, I'll do his walk, call on me. And Mr. Disney picks Mike, who's a greaser. I'm not saying I don't mock people too. I'm a vicious mocker.
So dude was like Ponyboy Curtis or Soda Pop or something.
High school is hell. The greasers come from Califon, and it isn't clear that they ever got over Elvis. Mike's hair is big in front and slicked into a duck's ass in back. For spring concert last year, he wore a leisure suit and...
Yeah, greaser. The outsiders like two-bit, Ponyboy, Soda Pop, Dally, the Fonz. There you go. That's a greaser.
Carried a mic and sang in
Fonzie.
a loud, flat voice. Does anyone really know what time it is? The Chicago song.
This is probably the
He was Andy
60s,
Kaufman,
70s, 80s,
ahead of his
yeah.
time. If he'd waited 5 years, he'd have a sitcom. But it's 1970.
Yeah, it sounds like a gay oppression fantasy. Sounds like some Village People, yeah.
In
It's
Annandale,
like-
New Jersey, and he goes to the front of the room.
And by the way, I mentioned this at the beginning. Look at. They say right here on this Queen's profile. His writing has appeared in several anthologies, including Between Men, original fiction, and today's best gay writers, and Vital Signs, essential AIDS fiction. So he writes fiction about, he probably writes fan fiction and gay porno,
Room and walks
fantasies.
back and forth, doing
Creepy,
me
dude.
earnestly and kind of sweetly, while my friends call out abuse. Swish your hips, they say. Dangle your wrists, they're telling him. Mr. Disney isn't happy. And that's not it, he says. And Mike sits down, and Mr. Disney takes over.
It's creepazoid, dude.
He comes up to me
like
and
it.
says, you're not Cher. Putting his hand on my shoulder. He's not mocking. He doesn't want me to get hurt. I'm being protected. Don't be Cher because you're not, he says. In the same tone in which like white liberals go to the inner city and tell the kids that there's somebody. You're not Cher.
They laugh because they know in the back of their minds that that's a lie. The hashtag bleak excellence. Did you hear that? You go to these white liberals go to the cities and say you're someone. It's like, then they immediately laugh at that prospect because they know that white or fellow white liberal who says that is completely full of shit on multiple levels. Like, they don't believe it themselves, and they're using that idiocy for more of the aforementioned power and influence and money. It's like really cynical and gross.
Cher walks like this, he tells me. And
I think the only group of people that don't understand that at this point are the white baby boomer conservatives. Like, they are still stuck in this MLK, like, racial egalitarian. Like, they earnestly 100% believe that they would, cower in it like a majority white enclave. They wouldn't necessarily go into the cities like the liberals and lie and rabble-rouse. They would lie from the safety of, like, a white enclave and say, I don't see race, content of character, not color of skin. That sort of nonsense. But so both sides effectively believe or multiple sides believe in the Blake excellence, bigotry of low expectations. Well, the conservatives believe that more so, but the liberals, they're like, oh, ha, black excellence, right? I don't think a single one of them actually believes it.
so do you.
They're just using it. They're using, like, what an excellent mural you painted in the crumbling ghetto, Jamal. Wow. Oh, wow, you're a break dancer. Oh, hip hop. Wow. Yeah, vote Democrat. Yeah.
He says it mournfully, actually. And so
That's what it is.
And then he walks back and forth across the front of the choir room in front of all my friends and swings his hips from side to side and flaps his arms and waddles like he's part duck, part Mae West. And nobody laughs. We're stunned by the likeness. And then he gets me in front of the room and he says, no, you do it. So I walk. I go from one side of the big room to the other, from the big double doors to the grand piano and back twice. Help him out, people, Mr. Disney says. What's he doing wrong? Tell him. And my friends tell me.
Where do we begin?
I walk back and forth while they make suggestions. They tell me to drop my arms and square my hips. After a while, Mr. Disney stops them and he looks at me and says, watch me, this is how a man walks. And he does a big circle around the room. It's a tiered and carpeted classroom. And he goes up one side and across the back, and
you gotta walk like a prowling animal, dude. That's how a man walks.
Down the other side, showing me how to walk. And then he says, "Now follow me." And again, he circles the room, and I go behind him, trying to do what he does. And we keep circling the room until the bell rings and it's time to go. After that, Mr. Disney and some other teachers institute like a John Weir reclamation project. They form a committee to save me from being a girl. Apparently I lisp, so they send me to the speech therapist.
Wait,
they put me in a
link
gym
that?
class, thank God.
Can you link
They
that
send
video?
me instead to the weight room, where I have to ask the members of the football team to spot me. And I mean, would you send your Jewish kid to Goebbels for moral support?
Yes.
I go for pep talk to the head guidance counselor, who happens also to be the football coach. And I see the school psychologist in a little house made of wood that the shop kids built next to the gym. The speech therapist, Mrs. Reed, sits across from me at her desk and tries to help me make a better S. She's got a picture book and she spins it around to face me, points at the page.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. They're upset about the AIDS epidemic. Well, we're upset that you insist on having creepy, like, bathhouse scenes in every major city, which is the reason for the tuberculosis and AIDS stuff. Those are that's like just how you get it, but society being homophobic is the blame here. Like, that was one of the biggest gaslighting abuse jobs done by our friends with the tea cozy hats, the small hats. You don't like this creepazoid subculture in your city? We have a word for that. It's homophobic. It's like, you don't like one Jeffrey Dahmer having a hunting grounds to do what he did, like, unassailed or uninterfered with for fucking years, probably because of the nature of the seedy nature of the bathhouse sort of gay nightlife scene. Like, well, we have a word for you. You're homophobic. It's just a gaslighting, brain scrambling,
Page.
con job. Done by the
I
small
say,
hats.
the snake. Tongue behind your teeth, she says, wiggling her tongue across her lips and drawing it to the roof of her mouth. I do the same. We're darting our tongues like serpents.
Yeah,
And
please
she
look
points
that
at the
up
next
and link
picture.
it in the chat or something if you can.
Sandwich. Good, she says, although I can't hear the difference. What kind of sandwich? Is there meat? Is there meat on that sandwich? Mrs. Reed, I'm a vegetarian.
Good.
She frowns. Salami. Good, good. Now, put it all together. The snake eats the salami sandwich. Very good, she says. The school psychologist is an undergrad from Fairleigh Dickinson University. Fairly ridiculous. With love beads and a beard like Allen Ginsberg's. I think I'm his senior project. His name is Barlow, and he's into transactional therapy, which means I spend our sessions shifting between two different...
Are you claiming that Metal, you said Metal, whose entire presentation came from the gay club scene, is that true?
chairs and having a conversation.
So the entire presentation of the gay scene came from, from the metal scene came from the gay scene?
With myself. In one chair, I'm the good boy, and in the other one, I'm the dog boy. Barlow has a clipboard and a ponytail, and as we speak, he alternately tugs at his hair and takes
Hey, thanks
notes.
for the host, Southern Dingo.
How do you feel
Appreciate
about
that.
your mother? I should answer as the good boy. Yeah, you're the good boy.
Everybody
My
sub
mom's
to
okay.
Southern Dingo.
He writes that down. What would the dog boy say? Be the dog boy. And he points at the other chair.
Gator.
My education in becoming a man involves scenes that would play well in a Jeff Stryker video. Tough guys stand over me in the weight room and say, "Push it, faggot." Older men want me as their dog. Even women.
Protesters disrupt CBS Evening News with Dan Rather on... Okay, this dude apparently was complaining about the AIDS crisis, so-called, at one point. Wait, I'll keep his yap going, actually, while I search this
Wag their
up.
tongues at me. I move to the other chair. I'm the dog boy now. Barlow smiles. Welcome, dog boy. Tell me about your mother. I lean forward because I have this idea that a dog boy would probably lean forward. Well, she's okay. He's disappointed, but our time's up. I head to the guidance department to see the football coach. Reaching him means walking through the mall, a huge central hallway connecting the old and new sides of the building, where everyone hangs out. It's got the cafeteria on one side and the library on the other, and the walls are lined with students in their cliques, jocks, cheerleaders, and brains. And I have to walk through the mall like 6 times a day. Everybody does, and each group calls me a fag as I walk past. Greasers, fag. Freaks, faggity fag.
Yo,
Aviators.
based dally, dude? Based soda pop? Let's see. Okay, so apparently these guys, or this guy and his guys disrupted some Dan Rather newscast.
A Scud missile eludes the U.S. Patriot missiles defending Tel Aviv. Its warhead kills some, inflicts scores of other casualties, and heavy damage in a residential neighborhood. New fears now that an Israeli retaliation against...
AIDS, not Arab.
Oh!
CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening.
AIDS, not Arab.
We're going to take a break for a commercial just now.
Was that the dude?
Thank you very much.
I think that was him. Wait, so they cut it.
We're sorry about that. Had a bit of an interruption here in the broadcast.
An
We're going to take
eruption.
things
It
right
was
from the top.
fabulous.
Saddam Hussein has cracked a U.S.-operated defensive shield and has struck his heaviest blow against Israel so far in the Six-Day-Old War.
Who cares?
The Israeli ambassador to the United States...
I love how we're seeing chunks of the Israeli influence on our wars, like even on this like gay,
Tonight?
Gay AIDS sort of interruption.
that several people were killed, many wounded, when a Scud missile slipped through a ring of fire from U.S. Patriot missiles and tore into an apartment house in Tel Aviv. The new attack heightened the pressure...
we better, we better defend them obsessively and compulsively. Do
on
you see any
Israel
more of the
to strike
interruption, though?
back against Iraq and widen the war. Tom Fenton.
I think this is like from the same clip.
Hour and the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Watch.
Is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. We're going to take a break for a commercial.
That might be the same dude. I think that's him.
AV nerds, I'm an object of derision, even to the AV nerds. Fag.
You are an object of derision by design, like on purpose. That's sort of the
The
flaw that we're
farmers
looking at
for whom
here.
I have contempt. Purely fag. The jocks. Fag.
Staged,
Cheerleaders.
yeah,
Don't be so
definitely.
mean to the fag. Brains. I wonder how come he's such a fag. The football coach / guidance counselor is a compact, cheerful guy with his shirt sleeves rolled up above his biceps and a bristly mustache. He bangs me on the shoulder and says, "How's it hanging?" Is he asking me about my testicles?
Creepy, dude. Unbelievably creepy. So he, of course, he's a professor at Queens, of course. He has to inject the anti-hate stuff, so we got that archived. Why is white America so violent? What is wrong with the white family that it raises angry, violent children? Why are so many young white men armed and dangerous? 1350, yada, 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 FBI.gov, etc., etc. We don't even need to go over that. Because they're lying. I mean, they know, again, in some compartment of their mind, they already know that they're full of shit and they're lying. Same thing, like, when they try to talk up, like, hashtag Blake excellence, they know they're lying. They know they're just using it, right? They're using it for political gain or monetary gain of some sort. They're sketch. They're very sketchy. But, I hate the fact that he's a masker. Like, that's just so appropriate. What is this? Gay bashing is not an Olympic sport. Damn. Just damn.
Is that what makes him a man? In health class, which is taught by the gym teacher who also runs the weight room, I learned what makes you a gay man. A gay man is someone in diapers. Homosexuals, the teacher says, are people who, because of the
I hate maskers
abnormality
too.
of their anus, like to put stuff up in there. It wears out their sphincter by the time they're 20, after which they gotta wear diapers because they got the constant runs.
Where's the lie?
And I'm like, are you kidding? Put something in my anus? Oh my God. I mean, I know I walk funny, but am I gonna have to wear diapers? The thing is,
These people think that prolapsed anuses and having to wear a diaper by the time you're 30 because you were kicking it at the bathhouse, like, they think that's funny. I mean, they probably don't think it's funny for their kids. They think it's funny for your kids. And they think it's funny that they're pushing this into educational spaces on your dime and that there's nothing you can do about it.
the thing is, I want to be an actor. That's why it's okay with me that everyone is helping me not be a girl. I'm walking down the hall and Mr. Disney will suddenly be behind me and just over my shoulder and he'll say, "Watch those hips." And if I want to be an actor, I have to be a man. And if I want to be a man, I can't be wearing diapers.
Yeah?
And then in my sophomore year,
It's like, does he describe or say all this stuff jokingly, like, well, if I want to be a real man, I can't walk around wearing diapers? Is he saying that as if that statement is supposed to be viewed as ridiculous, like in and of itself, that there would be that anyone would have like a standard for what it means to be a man? Is that sort of what he's kind of trying to deconstruct there? He's well, as a real man, I wouldn't want to run around wearing diapers and being gay and wearing dresses and playing horsey. Like, it's like, well, yeah. Yes, that, but unironically and not at some creepy bougie wine and cheese poetry slam, and not not financed by the taxpayers so that you can push creepy lies about what? I mean, white guys never have a motive. All this head scratching about what could possibly be his motive, talking about probably a lone wolf shooter. White guys don't just attack innocent people. Must have been egged on by ISIS. Must have been dumped by his girl. Must have been driven to opioids by Hillary Clinton. Some tragic thing because white guys, especially the straight ones, don't hurt people for no good reason. It's like all projection once again. They're bitching about, supremacy this and white that, and the black people had to steal the pair of shoes because, systemic this, that, and the other. It's like all lies and projection. We all know it. But, which I grew up with straight white guys. They were the only kind of guys I grew up with. And I can assure the head scratchers that hurting you for no good reason, because they are supposed to be the center of the world, because they are tall only if you are on your knees. Okay, more fantasies. To quote Toni Morrison, it's exactly what they do. What a lot of them are raised and praised to do. Yeah, no. You're just making shit up in your own creepy fucking fantasies, man. And this guy's like paid to do this. He's paid to opine about this fucking psycho shit, man. It's just, it's beyond.
I'm in a one-act play, which is very cool.
I mean, and this is like, this dude's been teaching since 1993 at Queen's, by the way.
Because I get to be the sensitive boy who just wants to do something real. The play's called Impromptu. It's absurdist and ripped off from Pirandello, and it's about 4 actors, 2 men and 2 women, who get hired to be in a play, except there isn't a play, and they haven't rehearsed, and they're sent on stage by an unseen stage manager who's told them not to leave the stage until something real happens. So they're trapped in the light,
Southern Dingo,
without
huh?
any lines, and they fight about what to do. How should they act? What kind of play are they in? It's not supposed to be an imitation of life, I get to say. It's supposed to be life. I'm anguished. I have these little anguished monologues. My parents don't love me. It's very fun. I can see myself being led into a room full of people, I say. They laugh and tell me to dance. I don't know what to do. Why do I want to cry?
Ugh, okay, well, I'll tell you why you want to cry. Just got a fucking video from one Southern Dingo, if I can fucking find it. Oh my gosh, it looks horrendous, but we're going to, oh my gosh, dude, I'm following so many freaking random people, dude. Damn, dude. I can't fucking find it all of a sudden. I'm probably scrolling directly past it. Ah. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. Jams. Just jams.
When his mom opened the door, I said, "Merry Christmas." And she looked at me and she was like, "Shalom." And I was like, "Oh, where's your Christmas tree? What's up with this candelabra? Why are you guys eating Chinese food?" And she just looked at me and said, "This is how we do it." This is how we do it.
Oh no.
This is how we do it.
How we do it. Hey, thanks for the Ninja Genie, Southern Dingo.
So we sat down for
got
dinner,
your
and there were, like,
special
all these
thirst.
pickles on the table,
Your
and this
special
weird
Southern
jellyfish in the
Dingo.
jar, and his dad offered me these things called potato latkes, and brisket, and challah bread, and kugel, and I was like, ew, I don't eat starch. I'm a gluten-free vegan. Ugh. The kids are playing with these things called dreidels, and I'm like, oh my god, I love Dr. Dre. And they just looked at me kind of weird. And then their parents gave them these gold coins, and I'm like, oh my god, I love money. I love Hanukkah. Then his Yaya gave me a glass of Manischewitz wine, and I was like, oh my god, I love it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Some tribes are way more gay.
After dinner, all the guys were like, this Shiska is cool. I totally felt like Barbara Streisand. I was like, let's watch Yentl. Let's break the glass. Where's Mel Brooks? This wine's got me schwitzing. Oh, I get bold. I'm getting the glimpse. I'm on this Hasidic shit. This is how we do it.
It's a little bit of a Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson, but dancier and gayer kind of vibe. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Thank you, Southern Dingo, for that cancer.
That's one of my lines. Why are we here? Why are you here? These are my actual lines. And then I have to turn to the audience and ask them, who are you? Why are you here? And then I say, I have nothing to give you except myself. And
Feeling
that doesn't seem
sick,
to be
gonna have
enough.
nightmares,
That's my big line. I
WTF,
have to address
wood chipper
directly to the
material.
audience. I think I'm Jane Fonda in Clute. She has all these monologues that she improvised about her feelings and about what it's like to be looked at by men, and she's clearly acting, but also heart-shatteringly real, and that's what I want to be. I want to tell the truth about myself from a safe distance.
Oh, do ya? So, are we finally going to get to the uncle story?
Behind the mask of character
That every one of these guys has.
Protected by artifice and theatrical...
He probably has a "this is how we do it" kind of story.
convention, which is not what I'm thinking the day we do the play at an
never
assembly
tell
for
you.
the freshman class. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm nervous, and my mom's here, and my drama teacher, they're friends. There are 700 freshmen, a huge class, the largest in the school. And while I'm standing backstage waiting for the play to start, I can hear the guys in the first 2 rows making fart jokes and snapping their bubble gum. Then we're on. The first few beats are done in the dark. We're the actors saying, "Where are the lights? Why is it dark? What does the stage manager want?" Then the lights come up suddenly and we can be seen. And we can see into the house. Actors are supposed to know how to create privacy for themselves, but I haven't learned how to do that yet. And I'm aware of the audience, who, after all, I have to address directly because it's that kind of play. There's no fourth wall. I spot my mother in the back under the exit light, standing with the drama teacher against the doors that lead to the lobby where they keep sports trophies in glass cases. My first line after the lights come up is, "It's worse than it was before." And a kid in the front row says, "Shut up, faggot." Well, this is familiar. Everybody hears. I'm
Based front row kid.
thinking I'm safe because I'm in a play. I'm not me. I'm an actor named Tony trying to do something real. And this isn't my life, unlike the actors we're playing. We've rehearsed and we keep going on with the play. And then another kid in the front row says, "Gay boy." And the kids in the audience are whispering and giggling. It spreads from the front row to the next few rows behind it, and then all the way to the back of the audience. And then, because the auditorium's only half full, it stops and there's a big empty space, and then my mother. Then a guy stands up and says, "What makes you such a faggot?" We're still doing the play. All the guys are laughing in the front row, and the girls start laughing too, and somebody says, "Queer bait" and "gay boy," and they start to shout and laugh and chant, and it goes like that, and now we can't hear ourselves on stage anymore, but we keep doing the play. I'm wondering if my drama teacher will interrupt, or maybe...
Dude, this dude was given a career just because he was called gay and actually was gay. But apparently, okay, so I'm being told that this demonstrates at least some of the Gheyer influence in metal.
For the band, they used to, as America did, very quickly.
They were singing about rebellion, and that was something that American youth were ready for. They almost created a social class with their music because it gave kids who are rebellious a place to go to be rebellious.
Hoping to find an onstage outlet for his angst, Rob visited a sex shop in London.
I just came back with all of the necessary S&M accoutrements that all metal singers should
Weimar.
have on stage and home. Up until that moment, the look had not been completely tied in as I felt to the sound. So putting on this kind of stuff, suddenly, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror, you listen to the music, and it just connects.
The look would be adopted by metal bands and fans from LA to London.
Yep.
Few knew that they were worshiping a metal god who was expressing his homosexuality on stage.
Let's face it, I was expressing myself every night when I went out in all that leather stuff.
Oh, I recognize that
I was going
riff.
out on stage every night looking like that. It was like Glenn from the Village People, you know, and people weren't getting it.
Rob completed a metal makeover by roaring on stage riding a Harley and making a bullwhip part of the show.
If I'd be on stage and I'd see somebody that was getting into the whip, I'd go, "You like this, do you? Want some more?" And just start wailing on their ass.
Inevitably, we had some badges made that said, "I've been whipped by Rob Halford," and fans used to go crazy over these badges.
It's amazing how people will, you know, get into a good thrashing. We all need a good thrashing now and again.
Judas Priest was whipping up a frenzy of interest with their looks and their music. But along with their increasing success, the band would experience some stunning setbacks.
That riff right there, either, I don't know when that song came out, but maybe Ted Nugent's Stormtroopin' ripped that off. I mean, there's probably a lot of rock riffs that have that. But yeah, so there you have it. Knew that Rob Halford was gay. I just didn't realize that. I mean, this could just be some VH1 classic pandering, like, oh yeah, you're gay, or you're, punk is probably way more so, and glam and all that. I mean, I've hypothesized for a really long time that glam, punk, and then everything leading up to like that mid 2000s, like MySpace, like guys with eyeliner and studded belts and all that, tight jeans and all that crap. Like, I've hypothesized for a while now that was just a means, like a long-term means to sort of like ease people into the whole transgender agenda, Seems like an easy way to do it. Yeah, Panic at the Disco, yeah, MySpace core, Chiodos or whatever, like horrible fucking shit. Just like androgynous tight jeans wearing dudes, all of that, I think, probably in a sense was like leading up to this whole movement that we saw starting roughly in 2012, 13, the tail end of Obama, when smartphone usage became ubiquitous and these movements got
somebody will shut down the lights. The other actors, my friends from the performing arts team on stage, have this look in their eyes like, I guess we should keep going, but there's so much noise. All the guys in the front row now are standing, the kids behind them are yelling, the ones who aren't shouting are laughing, and then I have to cross down stage and address them. When the actors in the play, they say, this is like a dream. Those are our lines. We tell each other that we feel like we're in one of those dreams, bad actor dreams. And in a play about a play that's like a dream, I cross down to the apron, feeling like I'm in a dream, 2 dreams, maybe 3. I'm playing an actor who wants to be real and not an actor, and I'm a kid who wants to be an actor because I get to talk about, I think acting is where I'll get to talk about what it's like to be constantly called a fag. I don't think acting is making things up. I think it's being myself, and this is my confession, posing as Tony, who doesn't want to pose, and I walk to the apron, and I look at the audience, and I say, I have nothing to give.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Bruiser
myself,
Brown,
and
698.
that doesn't seem to be enough.
Appreciate it.
That's my actual line. I wish
Can I
I
get over 100
this.
followers this stream?
The guy who wrote the play
that would be the
is
shit.
dead now. He's a guy named a gay guy named Tad Moselle. He won a Pulitzer Prize, and he wrote this play when he was a student at Yale in 1949.
I'm not sure if you can post links in the regular chat. Try it.
None of which
if you have a regular or relevant link to check out, maybe I'll check it out.
I know. What I know is I just told the whole freshman class and my mother that I have nothing to give except myself. I have to really yell to be heard, too, and I'm yelling. And for a second, everyone is quiet. We've crossed the line from art into life, and maybe everyone in the room is savoring the transition. A real moment is taking place in somebody's actual life in the guise of a performance about people searching for real moments in their actual lives. The levels of irony are way complex. 20 years from now, I'll be busy, deconstructing them, but at the moment...
Deconstructing! There you go! Yeah, deconstructing, destabilizing, undermining, subverting. Yeah, that's why people don't like you, dude.
My main concern...
Well, it's because, being Geta and supporting Globo Geta is just all-encompassing. It all kind of ties in,
is my body, or rather getting out of it. I want to be outside myself.
He's Geta, and he's explaining how difficult it was growing up to be gay, and he's also a tenure professor at Queens. This is, for anyone just joining, this is this guy's profile. He's paid by Queens, how apropos, to just indoctrinate kids. I mean, he's straight up, we had a screen cap up on the screen earlier of dude saying on his Facebook, like, oh yeah, I told my students to go tell their parents that they're gay or queer, even if they're not, just to see what happens, just as a homework assignment. Go tell your parents. Hey, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, sent off to college for the first time. Go home and tell your parents, just for no reason, apropos of nothing, that you're queer, just because it amuses this guy, I guess. I don't know. Subversion, though.
I don't mean high on sex or drugs or God, or it's not transcendence I want, but expedience, like when you're about to be in a car crash and the smart thing is not to be in your body when it happens. So I'm out of range, swinging from the arc lights in the space.
Stephen Hayes, if you have a video you want me to go over, I have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/duerst. If you throw me $9 a month, you can make a video request. I'll break down any video, audio, whatever, articles,
above
subject
my head
you want.
At the moment of impact. Looking down, I can see myself mounted on stage, arms wide, neck bared, face lit, surrounded like a condemned man on a gallows platform, and looming over the crowd. Any minute now I'm thinking somebody's going to kill the lights, the drama teacher will stop the show, but they let me dangle. I'm hanging in two places, trapped in my body and floating above it, being and leaving myself. I'm thinking, there's my gay body. It's my first postmodern moment. My classmates aren't just hectoring me, worse, they're turning me French. I'm a body caught in a contact zone, the site where 715-year-olds discover their power. I'm the symbol of their fear and their strength. And look at me, skinny, doughy, white boy, 15 years old, dressed for a high school play, wearing grease paint and powder, eyeshadow, eyeliner, lip liner, and rouge, straining and hot under the stage lights, bent forward, trying to connect. And look at them, red-faced, yelling, "Die, faggot." I'm thinking, aren't they tacky?
When I was in college, we had to go pretend we were gay out in public and write a paper about it. It was a developmental psych course. That is not... I mean, I'm sorry, what is the educational value in that? I mean, come on, dude. Why am I even saying that? That's a rhetorical question at this point. That's a boomer tier, like, question. Well, what's the educational value? What's the collegiate level value in teaching kids to pretend to be gay? It's like, we know the answer to that. There's none. It's subversion. I gotta shake my boomer tendencies here.
I'm thinking chicken farmers.
And by the way, I can't click on that archive dot whatever link. There's no way I can't click on that. There's a video of this dude complaining about... Is it a video of this dude ranting about Brett Kavanaugh? Or is it like...
They're all their own cousins. That's how I fight back. I'm critiquing them. Maybe that's what gay means. Critic. Diapered critic.
He forgot small T cozy.
And I mean, listen, I had friends. I had plenty of friends. I don't want to say victim, 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 you know, or how tragic. I was a vicious mocker of a 15-year-old myself. I had just discovered irony. And I shared it with everyone. I don't want to say I was incapable of cruelty or pointed or pointless abuse. Plus, I thought I was smarter than everyone else. And I let them know it. And I had better teeth, and my father worked in New York. I must have been an intolerable little snob for some people. But the thing was...
Ultimate Warrior says, when I was in college, they had to stare at a tranny for an hour. It was so awkward. Wow. I had to take 2 buses to go to that stupid class. No shit. The weirdest thing that I ever experienced in high school was they had a guy not dissimilar to this come into our either health class or study hall or lunch hour or something. I forgot which one it was. But he was kind of like this, but more bald and more Bugman. You know, he had like the visitor pass thing wrapped around his neck, you know. And he basically just got up in front of the class and complained about like AIDS this, or, you know, HIV this, that, and the other gay issues and stuff, and like heavily implied that, you know, the conservatives and the Republicans and like the Reagan types are the reason that they are like a huge contributing factor to them just not having gay representation, and therefore that's why they're contracting HIV or whatever convoluted nonsense. And I distinctly remember raising my hand at the time and saying, well, like, hey, isn't that because, you know, gay men are just more likely to be sexually promiscuous and share needles and stuff like that? And I was immediately just shot down. Like, no, there's no evidence for that whatsoever. Yeah, they shot me down for being a dissenting voice. But this is in like 2003 or 4, so way before cancel culture and that sort of thing. But I think it's telling that he just straight up lied in front of, you know, the entire point is to lie and subvert, but he lied so brazenly because, I mean, we know that the only way that you can track that sort of thing is, in fact, by sharing needles, or, in fact, by having promiscuous backdoor butt babies. You know, that's how you get it. So, therefore, if your group is disproportionately represented in getting that thing, that's how we know that's how you're contracting that thing. I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's basic deductive reasoning.
No one mentioned it Tony walks off the
People are just
stage before the
liars
play's
and
over.
voyeurs.
And as soon as I went through the door on the side of the stage that led to the hall, they stopped yelling, and the play ended the way plays do, with actors talking and the audience quiet. And out in the hall, it was like it hadn't happened. Because from that point forward, no one ever said a word to me about it. No one. Not a word. This big thing in my life took place in front of everyone I cared about. And now they all knew my secret. They all knew what I was. I had nothing to hide or confide. I was the shameful secret you repeat in order to have one. Secrets need to be shared. And it was apparently none of my business.
Shut up already, then.
Bravo!
Ugh. Grody. Grotesque. Bad physiognomy. Just, ugh. Disgusting. Revolting. I mean...
When his mom opened the door, I said, Merry Christmas. And she looked at me and she was like, Shalom. And I was like, oh, where's your Christmas tree? What's up with this candelabra? Why are you guys eating Chinese food? And she just looked at me and said,
Ew.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. So we sat down for dinner, and there were like all these dill pickles on the table, and this weird jellyfish in a jar, and his dad offered me these things called potato latkes, and brisket, and challah bread, and kugel, and I was like, ew, I don't eat starch. I'm a gluten-free vegan. Ugh. The kids are playing with these things called dreidels, and I'm like, oh my god, I love Dr. Dre, and they just looked at me kind of weird. And then their parents gave them these gold coins, and I'm like, oh my god, I love money. I love Hanukkah. Then his yaya gave me a glass of Manischewitz wine, and I was like, oh my god, I love it. This is how we do it.
Celebrating being gaida, hedonistic, and greedy. I mean, that's... Oy vey, oi, oi, oi vey, oi, 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 oi vey, oi, 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 oi vey, oi, oi.
Dinner, all the guys were like, this Shiska is cool. I totally felt like Barbara Streisand. I was like, let's watch Yentl. Let's break the glass. Where's Mel Brooks? This wine's got me schwitzing. Oh, Gewalt, I'm getting verklempt. I'm on this Hasidic shit. This is how we do it.
Evil! It's just they're telling you straight to your face that they're fucking evil. Once again, though, that about does it. But thanks to the illustrious Diendu for dropping another $9 tip. If you want to see me break down a video in this sort of live stream podcast format, go to subscribestar.com/dursttheworst, subscribestar.com/dursttheworst, and drop $9 per month tier, and I'll break down whatever video or podcast or article or whatever it is you want. But for now, I'm going to play us out with some Chrono Trigger, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You heard. Hope you guys had a good time. I'll chat with you a little bit some more in the chat.